I'm happy to announce that all traces of maple syrup have been removed from the couch. And a childproof lock has been added to my fridge. If Shitwaffle wants to get its little dull hands on any of my food, it's going to have to be very disappointed. As suggested, I went to purchase a pet stain vacuum to get rid of the sticky substance, and then I saw the price, so I borrowed my neighbor's instead. Surprisingly, she didn't ask why I needed a pet stain vacuum, despite knowing that I have no pets. Now that I think about it, she probably assumed it was some kind of crazy college kid mess and didn't want to know the details. That would explain why she seems so disapproving. No, she can gossip about me all she wants, as long as she doesn't figure out that it's my haunted doll who's been driving her dog crazy. Interestingly, someone commented on one of my posts to point out that I'd previously mentioned Shitwaffle leaving odd search histories on my computer, including researches into some sound pitches that only dogs can hear, which now makes a surprising amount of sense. Really glad I decided to share my experience with you all. I mean, I've often been accused of being oblivious, so it's nice to have other people who can make connections that I would have otherwise overlooked. I mean, yeah, I have my friends, but they're weirded out by Shitwaffle. I don't really enjoy hearing about the exploits of my unusual roommate. Thankfully, the internet has an above-average tolerance for freaky shenanigans. So, thanks, for being such good listeners. Random strangers on the internet. This is a lot cheaper than a therapist, and you have my gratitude. But you know who doesn't have my gratitude? Peter. Yeah, my friend Peter, who thought that it would be a great idea to show up to my house unannounced with a psychic in tow. Now, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against psychics. This one was a very nice older lady who reminded me a bit of my great aunt. And in any other circumstance, it would have been lovely to meet her. However, I just gotten off a long day at work and just slipped into my ratty sweatpants, the kind that you only wear when you plan on not having any human contact for the rest of the day. I just wanted to sink into my slightly maple syrup smelling couch, watch TV, and eat microwaved food. But apparently, Peter was worried about me because of the possessed doll living in my house, which is ridiculous. Shitwaffle and I, we're chill. I tried to explain this to the two of them as they stepped into my house, but the psychic, Denise, wasn't listening. She was standing stock still. I sense an overwhelming rage coming from the living room, she murmured. Her glasses flashing dramatically in the low light. Peter glanced at me, wide-eyed, as if to say, I knew it. I think he expected me to be impressed or intimidated or something, but it was hard to take any of it seriously because I knew that Shitwaffle was only pissed because they had interrupted Animal Planet. You should probably leave, I suggested reasonably. And the sooner my guests left, the sooner Shitwaffle and I could go back to watching television and lazing around. Don't worry, my child. Its negative energy cannot harm me. Denise tried to reassure me, completely misinterpreting my meaning. No, that's not what... Okay, look. I appreciate that you came to check on me, I lied. But, has the entity ever tried to harm you? Denise interrupted, still in a low, cautious voice. Nope, I answered at a normal volume because all of this whispering nonsense was stupid. You broke your ankle the first week you got that thing, hissed Peter. And what about all those weird bruises? I groaned in exasperation. Okay, first of all, please don't bring up the shampoo incident because it's embarrassing and has nothing to do with Shitwaffle. And secondly, I continued, if you're claiming that you don't ever get unexplained bruises, then you're straight up lying because that shit happens to everyone. What about that burglar who was hospitalized because of that crazy doll? You can't dismiss that, Peter Whisper shouted. You bet your ass I can dismiss that. The motherfucker was trying to break into our house. Our house? Peter repeated incredulously. The Shitwaffle is an excellent roommate, I said defensively. All our friends are too scared to come over since that Ouija board session, Peter deadpanned. Shitwaffle is an acceptable roommate, I amended. You contacted the spirit with a Ouija board? Denise asked suddenly, concern furrowing her brow. That's extremely risky. This may be even worse than I thought. Before I could inform her that Ouija boards are actually produced by Hasbro and therefore do not scare me any more than a Power Ranger action figure, she walked into the next room. Peter and I followed, only to see her reaching out to pick up the doll on the couch. Don't touch it, I yelped. The psychic paused. But I need to get a reading. she explained slowly, as if immediately manhandling someone upon entering a room was a perfectly acceptable thing to do. I mean, damn, is there anything more aggravating than an uninvited guest who walks around your house like they own the place? Shitwaffle apparently didn't think so, because it let out an ear-piercing screech, its head spinning around wildly. Peter looked like he was about ready to piss his pants, and Denise took a cautious step back, which is probably a smart move. Never underestimate a potential Peter pants pissing. Maybe she was startled by the doll screaming its head off. It could have been a reason. Yeah, I get it, buddy, I sympathized with the irritated doll. I don't know why I let these screwballs in either. The screwballs in question looked at me with surprise and betrayal at my commiserating comment, like they weren't expecting me to get on casual terms with my roommate of the past few months, which, you know, is a little insulting, because I am perfectly capable of getting along with people. That thing, it isn't a human spirit. Don't you understand? It isn't Casper the Friendly Ghost. It's a demon possessing a vessel, Denise explained, urgency leaking into her voice. I have to admit, I wasn't expecting a pop culture reference from someone who looked like she was fresh out of a hippie commune. I mean, sure, Casper is a bit dated, but it's the thought that counts, right? I had to give her points for that one. The middle-aged woman continued to speak, her bangles clinking like little alarms as she gestured toward Shitwaffle. The demon is not of this world. Its sole purpose is to feed on your life force, to bring ruination into the lives of humans. It feels no remorse, no regret. It brings only suffering with it. Yeah, but it pays the rent, I shrugged. Denise looked mortified at my apathetic millennial attitude. I sighed. I tried to explain. Look, you may have been able to afford a house back in the day, but the cost of living is expensive as hell now. No pun intended. And sometimes a person's got no choice but to room with a literal demon. And, all things considered, I've had worse roommates. Peter sputtered. But it's evil. You can't possibly... Shut up, Peter, I groaned, rubbing my forehead absently. A headache was starting to form, and I had a pretty good guess as to the cause. Just, please, leave. I'm really tired. Okay, I want to be alone right now. Peter began to protest, but Denise pulled him back gently. It's too late, Peter. Your friend is already under its demonic influence. There's nothing we can do now. Well, at least it got them to leave. The doll was a little cranky afterwards, making all sort of blood-curdling screams, but we finally managed to settle down, watch an interesting documentary about some kind of funky worm called a green-banded broodsack. So the evening wasn't entirely wasted by pointless dramas. In other news, a commenter suggested that we use a letterboard to communicate, and I thought that was a fantastic idea. I mean, I've used whiteboards and chore charts with other roommates before, but I didn't think that it would really work with Shitwaffle because, well, I'm not sure if it could even pick up a whiteboard marker with those tiny hands, let alone write legibly with it. I mean, I'm not sure if the doll's fingers have joints or not, although once I did think I saw it flip me off. But the letterboard, the letters can just be picked up and shifted around to create messages. I'm still trying to decide whether it would be cheaper to buy a traditional letterboard or just get those little alphabetic magnets for the fridge. You know, I'd appreciate any thoughts you all might have on that. Either way, I'm extremely relieved to have found an efficient way to talk with the little guy. I'm embarrassingly close to buying Christmas lights and string them up over the alphabet like that one show with the girl who eats the waffles. Oh, this way will be, you know, a lot easier on my electricity bill than that, thankfully. I'm gonna end this post a little early, as I'm still kind of in a bad mood from the psychic visit. I mean, mind control? Under the demon's influence? Seriously? I think I'd know if I was being possessed. Hey there kids, it's me, Mrcreepypasta, and I just wanted to tell you thank you so much for watching tonight's video on YouTube, for listening to tonight's episode on the podcast that you could find on Spotify, on Apple, and on Google Play, or anywhere else that you guys happen to listen to podcasts. One other thing I wanted to tell you before we get to moving on to the patrons is the books that are currently available on Amazon. If you guys like seeing creepypasta stuff from me or from many of the authors that I work with, check out the Creepypasta collections, both Volume 1 and Volume 2. You can find them both on Amazon, really the stars of those are the authors that are in them, which are some of the greatest authors, I think, from both classical creepypastas as well as up to modern ones that we've worked with today. And now, for patreon.com/Mrcreepypasta, which you can always find in a link in the description, I want to give you all a very big thanks. There's many of you down there in the descriptions who I give big thanks to, and everybody also at this tier, like Dr. Strawberry, Jordan Alexander Sanchez, Ken, Lando Higuchi, Brianna Van Tine-Janzen, Chompski, TheRedOakShieldVirus, Sindee Barney, Asia, G. Weevil 3, Diana Kraus, Stephen VanHuss, Tristain Pelton, Nico, kaeo, TheGingerBroz, Dante Rowe, Raphael Rodriguez, Lastbladesong, Don Meulmeester, Eliminator 86, Nebsky, SteampunkSinner, OptimisticAvacado, Kaleb Dougal, Daniel Poulsen, Finley, and Sky Harbor. You guys are the MVPs, and you guys keep the channel running, and I honestly cannot thank you enough for all that you do. That's all for tonight, guys. Sweet dreams.